Welcome to another episode of Firo Fortnight. This is the second installment, and at Firo Fortnight, we cover basically all the news that has been happening in the Firo world in the past 2 weeks, and also basically anything that's relevant in the privacy cryptocurrency space. My name is Ruben. I am the project steward of Firo. And before we go any further, if you like what we produce, if you like the mission that Firo is promoting financial privacy and would like to see more of these videos, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click that bell button because it really helps with the algorithm and gets this video recommended to more people. So thank you very much for that. So let's get right into it. We'll be covering into a bunch of really cool issues. One which is the update on the Binance monitoring tag status, some of the research that we've been doing in the past 2 weeks or so, or like concluding some of the software releases that we've been doing. And we'll also be covering a bunch of community issues that people have been talking about in our community channels, such as like the Sellwall that's on Binance and some of the shows that we've been on. So yeah, let's get right into it. Right. So yes, let's first talk about the Binance monitoring tag. And the monitoring tag is basically, if you take a look here, it's a tag that is placed by Binance on certain projects to indicate there is a higher risk. And this can be for a variety of reasons. One is, the project is just not a good one. The founders have abandoned it. There's been no development, or there's some kind of unwanted behavior. There's many reasons why a project gets placed into monitoring tag. But for us, for Firo, we will place with the monitoring tag back in January because of new regulations that cover privacy preserving assets. And you'll notice that we weren't alone having the monitoring tag being placed on us. Zcash, Monero, all had a monitoring tag placed, despite this being very respectable and good projects. So it's very clear that it's not because there's anything wrong with the project, but mainly because there's increased regulatory pressure on privacy preserving assets and new regulations to comply. And if we don't manage to meet them, we may face a potential delisting, right? So that has been ongoing since January. We've actually been engaging with Binance in discussions since September. And we actually came up with something called exchange addresses, which I think covered in the previous Firo Fortnight. And, that solution, has actually become like the solution that all other privacy preserving assets that want to stay on Binance have followed, right? So in a way, we're kind of like a trailblazer. PIVX has followed. Zcash has implemented its own form of exchange addresses. And, there are some people that kind of say like, oh, you're bending the knee to regulators. I mean, obviously that's not true because, well, it does not really affect user-to-user transfers. And when you are transferring to an exchange, the exchange already knows who you are. So it doesn't really sort of say, it doesn't really affect the privacy, especially when you already have transparent addresses. So yeah, I mean, we've already covered this topic before, but I wanted to give an update on the monitoring tag status because everyone's asking, oh, when is it going to be removed? If it's going to be removed. Now, monitoring tag status is generally reviewed every quarter. So that means, yeah, every 3 months, I guess. And so the next window that this is going to be reviewed is in April. Obviously, Binance will not commit as to when they would be removing this monitoring tag, but they have confirmed that our efforts to implement exchange addresses, which we were the first to do so far meets all their regulatory requirements thus far. And we have the update that we've had is that their technical team have been starting to ask questions on us on how to go about implementing exchange addresses into Binance as well. So I think that to me is a good sign. If you're going to delist us, why would you go ahead and implement asked us questions on how to implement the exchange addresses, which means we're on a good path. And I no promises that it'll be removed in April, but there is a chance. But if not, I think once Binance implements exchange addresses, there's no other issues, that monitoring tag will be removed. And you can see that Monero actually already has been delisted because they are unable to comply, also don't want to comply. And so far, assets like ours, who are in the process of making the necessary changes, are still listed on Binance. And we hope to actually kind of like reduce the reliance on exchange addresses and transparent addresses, at least especially from our ecosystem point of view. But for those exchanges that do need to have some sort of a compliance with MiCA rules or US rules, they can use this exchange address type. And we still maintain, I guess, the good liquidity that that centralized exchanges, especially Binance, like they have a huge, like, millions and millions of users, and it'll be kind of sad to lose a listing like that. So far everything good, and the update is that Binance has been actively asking us on how to implement exchange addresses into the thing. So, yep, right. So okay, let's move on to the next topic, which is basically last year we had this new research called curve trees, and basically curve trees is a technique that allows you to improve membership proofs to be able to support, I would say, global anonymity set. So right now, like, Lelanter Spark supports like high thousands, 32,000, 65,000 or something like that, right? And it means that while it is very, very high anonymity, especially when compared to things like Monero, which only has a ring size of 16, at least on a per transaction basis, larger anonymity set means potentially, theoretically higher, larger privacy, right? And what curve trees would allow is basically these sets to grow into the billions, which would really mean that you can encompass all transactions in a blockchain, right? So obviously there was this really exciting paper that came up called Curve Trees. And we actually, were asking, well, could we actually implement this into Lelanter Spark to upgrade, to replace what we call the one out of many proofs, the membership proof portion, to actually scale this to billions of, commitments? And the answer is yes, we can actually do that. So after a couple of months of research, we managed to write a paper that actually sort of shows how we would go about using curve tree techniques in Spark. And this is kind of one of the really nice things about Lelanter Spark, is that it's because it's designed in a modular way, so that when you actually find better tech, you can actually upgrade components of it without having to change the entire system. So, we'll be, I guess by the time this video comes up, you will have a blog post up publishing this. And yeah, this is a really cool piece of work that really brings Spark to the premier. I mean, it's already in the premier levels of privacy protocols, but this brings it even further, right? And I mean, Lelanter Spark is so good that even Monero is considering it, or rather, it's like on track on using something called Seraphis, which draws a lot of inspiration from our work with Lelanter Spark. So something I'm really, really proud of. I would like to kind of give some special shout outs to basically Kayaba Nerf, or also known as Luke Parker. He is a Monero contributor, I guess one of the up-and-coming stars of Monero, and also the lead developer of Serai, an up-and-coming cross-chain decentralized exchange. And he did a lot of work on what he calls full chain membership proofs, which is just another name for curve trees. And he's actually done a full proof of concept implementation of the necessary stuff that you need to support curve trees or full chain membership proofs. He designed this for Seraphis, for Monero, but he's also designed it in a way that, Spark can, or rather Firo can also utilize this library. So this is a very important contribution and was also very, very helpful in Aram understanding how curve trees work. So huge shout out to Aram, huge shout out to Luke Parker, and also to Aaron Fackett from CipherStack, who has actually spent a lot of time looking through this stuff and giving feedback on that. So they're all tanked here, but I just wanted to give a shout out here and a nod off to really good work and a show that there can be cross collaboration between privacy projects, even competing ones, right? I feel like we are competing, but also at the same time we're all in it together. And I'm really kind of pleased to see that, Monero's benefited from our work on Spark, and we are benefiting from some of this work that Monero people are also looking at as well. So that's the update on curve trees. So another thing that we've been very recently looking at is the concept of basically automated market makers, or basically what we call types, Uniswap type of pools, where instead of having an order book where you kind of have to actively maintain market maker bots to kind of place orders and replace orders and all this sort of things, and you basically need to maintain this on 24/7 if you want to do it, which is very capital efficient, but at the same time it's kind of out of reach for many people because people just don't have the time to manage this type of stuff, right? And nothing wrong with that order book approach, right? It means basic swap deck uses it, FiroDEX uses the order book as well, and it has its own sets of benefits. But one of the beautiful things of AMMs is that it really allows people to provide liquidity in a kind of semi-passive manner, and you basically create markets for all of this, right? And I think one of the things that has been a missing piece with many because we've been trying to build something called Spark Assets, and Spark Assets means that you can create any kind of token that you want on Firo using Spark technology. But what's the point if you can only build the token, but you cannot bootstrap liquidity in an easy way? Do you have to have a centralized exchange to list it, or do you have to have some atomic swap and then people have to do all this market making bots? Or should it be just on Uniswap, right, where you create a token and immediately you can supply liquidity to it, and anyone can do that with a little bit of fiddling here and there? And that's why AMMs are kind of beautiful. That's why Sarah is also going down an AMM route. And what we were trying to figure out is basically how other projects have been doing it. And we took a look at stuff that Penumbra has been doing, and we want to have a way that is like what Xano is doing with confidential assets, what Beam is doing as well. We really want to make it easy to create liquidity for the tokens that are on Spark Assets. I think Xano doesn't have any sort of AMM model. They rely on a higher level protocol, but it'll be nice to be able to have this supported at the protocol level. And we're kind of evaluating what are the requirements that we need. So this is ongoing research. Aram's being tasked on it, and I'll hope to keep you posted that Spark Assets is not something we've been just talking about. We actually have work being done on the library, and we also have we are defining what are the feature sets that we find that are really important. Right. So let's kind of get into the software releases that have happened in the past 2 weeks. We released Firo version 14.13.2. It's a mandatory update. It isn't really a hard fork. Basically, there's certain security hardening stuff that we had. and certain bug fixes that we have over Spark. And as you know, these past few months, we've just been focusing on making sure that the Spark experience is as good as possible. We're trying to make the speed faster. We're trying to, have the user experience as good as possible. And that's our focus. That has been our focus since the launch of Spark in January as well. So this is just a further thing. Don't forget the update. It is a mandatory update. Just because it has all these important security fixes and hardening type of things. So yep, do update it, on the normal website. We've also released a new version of FiroDEX. Actually FiroDEX is really nice. I use it quite regularly. You can swap from BTC to Firo or Firo to BTC. It's cross-chain, right? It has liquidity there for a bunch of pairs. And also if you have like USDT or USDC on Binance Smart Chain, you can also use that to swap it for native Firo or EP02 Firo, or I really recommend you giving it a try. And even if you don't want to do that, you can actually do that using what we call Komodo wallet. And Komodo wallet is, FiroDEX is a white label version of Komodo wallet, and you can basically do it just right within your browser and swap assets just like a centralized swap provider, and you can complete the whole swap in, like, I would say within half an hour, which is really good. Another thing that we've installed, which is now, Firo is going to be using AI. Which, let's take a look what it actually is, right? I recently added something called Coderabbit, and this has several benefits. So, if you're a person that wants to kind of see what we're doing, what we're working on, but don't necessarily, you can't read code or things like that. Coderabbit actually, basically summarizes what we're doing, and also proposes ways to improve the code, right? So obviously, this is more as a guidance. It does not replace the actual human developer, but we've done this integration. So if you go through our GitHub, you can get an idea of the work that we're doing on the pull requests. And yeah, I think that is great visibility. So we started using that. Okay, now we're going to talk about a very hot topic, which is a Sellwall, right? And what's a Sellwall? You see this thing here is basically a lot of Firo that is being put up for sale, which means theoretically you would have to eat through all this for the price to go up, right? And it's quite a lot of money to get the price up because of this huge Sellwall there. And you can take a look at over here. It's like about 300 over 1,000 Firo, which is like what, 600,000 US dollars, to kind of move it up by 20 cents, right? And normally this may seem, it's like not good news. But the interesting thing about this is that many people have noted in our Telegram channels, and this Sellwall has been here for, I think, more than a year. And the real Sellwall actually is that, well, if you buy into it, the Sellwall should decrease, right? Because if there's 300,000 Firo, if you buy 100,000 of it, that Sellwall should go down to 200,000. But instead of that, the Sellwall just keeps on moving with the price. So like before you hit 210, the Sellwall readjusts its price to go higher. And obviously there's a lot of theories on this, on who is this. Is someone trying to suppress the price? Is someone trying to, keep the price low so that they can acquire a lot of Firo, which is why whenever there's a huge movement in Firo, especially upwards, you see that wall disappear, which is quite funny, right? So yeah, don't be discouraged that, I do think this Sellwall is just something that, some smart or dumb investor is trying to suppress the price, either to accumulate. Obviously, this is not financial advice. I just thought that it was something cool to take note of, because it's been something that's being discussed in the community, especially in the trading channels, very often, because you see this wall there, you try to buy it up and it just keeps on moving so that you never get it. Then you're like, why is the Sellwall there if it's not to be taken, right? So yeah, I'll leave you to make the decision on that. It'll be nice to be like, yeah, bring down the wall, and let's see how it goes. But personally, I'm not too concerned. I thought it was just an interesting thing that someone is willing to put their Firo there for sale, but not actually want anyone to buy into it. So yeah, a cool thing. So we have been on, I guess, we've been on 4 different shows, but I think 3 have been published. A lot of it has been coverage on how we have been navigating the regulations without, sacrificing user privacy. So we have been featured by the crypto show, especially Desert Links, one of my favorite people who basically he lives off crypto. We were talking about, this was like almost a 2-hour interview. It shows like all the stuff that we've been talking about here. So leave it in the background, show that you like it, because these creators that cover us, they're not getting any money from us. So show some love, say that you're from the Firo community, show that you're appreciative of them covering us, giving me the opportunity to speak. and yeah, they'll be likely to cover us more because people want to watch it, right? So yeah. And of course, we hold every once a month with our friends at PivX, Particle, and Basic Swap, we hold a roundtable, and we also invited the guys from Beam and also Joel to come and discuss about future alternatives to centralized exchanges. It's generally an hour long. You can leave it in the background, and yeah, do watch it, just listen to it, leave any comments if you have any questions on whatsoever. So yeah, we've been actively trying to get interviewed, trying to get exposure beyond our own channels. And if you have someone that is willing to interview us, that's really passionate about privacy, send them our way, and I'll be happy to oblige and share the word of Firo. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of the main shows that we've been on. We have, I guess, 2 cool things that we wanted to share with. We launched a little Firo slogan showdown, right? Where you can come up with your catchphrase, how you want to. The idea is basically to come up with a witty, smart slogan or catchphrase that could be placed on a t-shirt that talks about privacy or talks about Spark or anything, right? Something that kind of encapsulates what Firo is about, that is catchy, and that can be placed on the t-shirt. And if it's good, we're gonna print this shirt and make it available to the community as well. So there is prizes, small little prizes to beating, and it's not difficult. Just like, submit your entry with Firo Slogan Showdown, Telegram, Matrix, Discord, or on our Twitter X page. So yeah, 6th of March, which just started yesterday, and you have until the 20th of March, and it's easy to participate in and let your creativity go, right? The other thing is that, we just wanted to give a special shout out to Gungden. He won the community member of the month. I don't have a blog post up on it, right? But just kind of want to shout him out because he's been with the community for a bunch of years now, and he's always constantly in the channel. He's liking, commenting on our YouTube videos, our shorts. He's been helping people in the Telegram communities, and also dealing with FUD. So really appreciate our community members, and today is a special shout out to Gungdan, and we'll be sending to you Firo Lalanta Spark hoodies as a small little thank you from the core team. So thank you very much, and the rest of the Firo fam. So yeah, I don't have much more to update. I guess look forward to the next installment of Firo Fortnight. And if you have anything else that you want me to cover, please leave it in the comments. Any questions, leave it in the comments. We read all our comments and we'll try to reply. But yep. So signing off and have a great one, Firo fam.